Welcome to Talking Heads on USA Global TV, starring the one and only wonderful Dr. Jacalyn. It's a prestigious place where world-class influencers and experts meet, and where you'll find the most trusted advisors and coaches for all things in life and business. Visit usaglobaltv.com to sign up for our newsletter, get the value you need, and be first in line to learn about events and giveaways and other valuable content. Connect with us. Email Dr. Jacalyn at usaglobaltv.com to talk about how you can become part of USA Global TV. That's USA Global TV, where the doctor is always in.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to USA Global TV and Radio. I'm Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, and our show today is the United Kingdom News and Culture. We hope that you will literally get on the bus with us as we're talking about what's the latest and greatest in the UK. Joining me for this program is our esteemed group of panelists, our expert correspondents. Let's welcome them from Texas in the United States, DIANN, FLOYD, BOEHM. Hello.
Hi, it's great to see you. Today I'm filming actually from North Carolina, the Biltmore Hotel.
Woo! You know, I saw a email come through that was a text message with a picture crossing the North Carolina, the line. I was like, who is that from? It was from you. So congratulations on your travels there.
Thank you.
All right, we'll find out more in a few minutes. Let's also welcome Helena Chard joining us from London. Hello.
Hi, everyone. How excited to see you. Lovely to see you, Dr. Jacalyn and DIANN. Yay.
Nice to have you.
Those backdrops are wow. Love them.
We're all on the bus together.
Yeah. Love it.
Let's welcome Mr. Ian Pelham Turner. Hello.
Good afternoon. Do you know, I've just noticed I've got this very annoying, it looks like a kiss curl on the top of my head this afternoon. It's been so windy in London that, I don't know how to get rid of it. So anyway, I'm going to have to look like this afternoon.
You look
That's okay. You look great. Mr. Simon MacDonald is not here with us today, so he has the day off. We look forward to welcoming him back. So we're literally all on the bus together, which is really what this show is about, right? Celebrating the United States and the United Kingdom.
Yay.
And I'm really pleased that this is our 51st episode.
Wow.
And I'm very pleased that you've got, I think you've got one of our new energy buses. But basically, everything changed over a while back, and but I think each of those buses, if memory serves me correctly, and Helena may remind me better, but I think each bus costs £1 million, I think they're based on hydrogen now. A lot of the new buses in London, and they have different methods of actually boarding the bus as well. So it looks like you've got one of the new London buses.
How about that?
Wow, who knew? That's amazing. I'm ahead of my time.
As always, as always.
So the last time I was in London was in 2018. Did they have those buses then?
No, I think they came in, it was really, I've got, Helena will probably know better than me. I've got a feeling they came in 2019 during the election time, these buses, and they are a new phenomena as well. That's rather hard to say on a Wednesday afternoon. But
would you say that I literally just missed the bus then?
Yeah, I'm having a sugar rush this afternoon. I came back in, and it's blowing a gale outside this afternoon, and I came back and I thought, you know what, I'm going to have a sugar rush before the thing. So I've had this wonderful coffee and this wonderful piece of lemon drizzle cake. And so,
We're talking about food again.
It's a new record. Less than 5 minutes in, we're on food. I love it.
If I'm hyper this afternoon, it's the sugar rush.
Now, are you still using that exercise bicycle that you mentioned?
Absolutely. Every morning, when I wake up, that's the start of a song. You know, when I wake up, first of all, yeah, that's one of the first things I do in the morning is and I find that it works really well with my knees as well. So obviously I've got a knee problem these days, and so I find it loosens up my knees no end, and I could start the day with a smile on my face.
Yay! I love that. Helena,
You know,
what about you? Do you exercise?
I do. I don't exercise hugely, but I love to be out in nature. So first thing in the morning, I like to be up early and go for a brisk walk. And I never let the weather get the better of me. So if it's raining, for instance, like today, I still will get out, because it's no matter what, you know, no matter what is outside, you always feel so much better. I love it. So yeah, I don't do enough exercise, but I like to get my heart rate racing just by walking quickly.
So
And
you're
in the
power
summer, I like to
walker.
swim. Maybe not a power walker, but you know, I walk as quick as I can.
I love it. Getting back with nature is wonderful. How about you, DIANN?
Oh, I fail. We've been so busy. I wish I could be like Helena, rain or shine. Maybe you'll be my inspiration, you two guys, Ian and Helena. I'm being honest.
It doesn't.
I think when you get into a routine, you know, and that's what I've tried to do. It's not easy for me because I'm not a good book reader, for example. And this year, Helena bought me a wonderful book for Christmas, Michelle Obama's new book, and a couple other people bought me books as well. So I thought part of my plan this year is I do my exercises, I shower, and I get myself ready. And then I make a cup of tea, and then I sit down at the window. I sit down at the window and I read the book for a little while, and it's, you know, it's the start of my day. Before I even have breakfast, I read a few pages of the book each day, and it, you know, and I think you get used to all these things as well after a while. So it's a very exciting life that I've got these days, you know. Like, you know.
It sounds like the beginning of a documentary.
It's like it's conscious mindfulness, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, it's good. It's really good.
I wouldn't say I'm that intelligent about, you know, but it works for me, you know. So you know, I seem to think that once you get into a routine or something, and it starts to work for you, you know, and the only thing I've got to try and cut out more is the dreaded sugar. You know, I have most days, I have to be honest, I have a sugar rush. I mean, people have been buying me chocolates, and I keep on telling them I'm a reformed chocoholic. You know, you know. But
no. Well, so I know we have some news and some things to discuss today, but I just, based on what we're talking about, just had a show with Janetta, and we ended up talking about values and structure and discipline versus I'll do it tomorrow. So I'd love to just go around and hear your thoughts. Someone I know really well always says, if I had a magic wand, this and this would happen. And I always say, there is no magic wand. It's discipline and structure. What are your thoughts about that?
I think I'll start. I think, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, if you to get things done, well, I'm talking from my own point of view, and I think in general, to get things done, it's to be structured is so important, and it's one of the things that I'm very big on in 2023. For me, is creating boundaries, and it's creating boundaries so I can achieve what I want to achieve. So, which is so important, because we've spoken about this before. You can make better conscious decisions when you're feeling relaxed, but also you can just get on with things. And I find that it really works. It really works. So to have those boundaries, create those boundaries, whatever it might be. You know, it could be that you need to take time out from family, or you don't see certain friends, or, you know, you decide you've got a certain amount of time to get on with it, get up early, just get on and work, i.e. getting up, going for a walk, and then doing your work. I don't know, it definitely, it gives you drive as well. And then you get into that routine, it perpetuates, and I find that you can get things done. So yes, I agree. But of course, you can have days off, you know, not to be too rigid.
I agree with you, Helena. Now, and I want to go around here from the other two as well. But something that came up with Janetta in the work that she does to help people is many times when we are disciplined and structured, judgment comes along with that, because we're hard on ourselves, saying you were going to do this, you told yourself you were going to do it, and then you didn't get it done the way you were supposed to, and then you're annoyed with yourself, and it started like this big circle, as opposed to, hey, I'll do it whenever, I'll get to it next week, it's no big deal. Ian, I see you smiling. What are you thinking?
I mean, it's almost like you're talking about manana time, isn't it, as well, where, you know, don't do today what you can put off till tomorrow. And I think, you know, once you create a structure, it's like, you know, New Year's resolutions. My New Year's resolutions this year was that I was going to take have a different way of actually waking up in the mornings and getting myself prepared for the day, because in that way, then I'm a much stronger person, you know, to be able to do other things as well. And so, yeah, I'm really pleased that I've stuck to this structure that I do right now. You know, I use the cycle for a few minutes each morning, and it loosens my knees, so it makes me feel, you know, energized in that way. You know, I have my shower and I get myself ready, and then sort of literally taking time off, even if I'm just reading 3 or 4 pages a day, with a cup of tea, you know, of a book, then it seems to sort of settle my mind ready for the day at the same time, and it just brings that calmness to people's lives. And I think the big thing this year is that is to bring calmness to, you know, to people's lives as well, and to the most simplest things of all: reading a book, enjoying it, having, you know, a warm drink, and looking out at the world through the window. It actually just gives you that first perspective of you know, what the day is going to bring. And then breakfast happens, and so you know, for at least for an hour, you know, after I've woken up, I've just got that period where it's me time, and then normally I'll be rushing off to whatever you know, assignment I'd be doing that particular day. But at least I've given myself me time.
So important. Thank you for sharing that. I felt like we were right there with you. How about you, Lady Diane? What are your thoughts about structured discipline versus maybe tomorrow?
No, I agree with Ian and Helena. My mornings, I wake up and give thanks that I have air in my lungs, and I feel very blessed because so many other people wake up or don't wake up. So that's the first thing I do is give thanks. And then my husband and I, that's our time together, and we kind of plan our day if we hadn't discussed some things the night before. And then we each have our own little me time. And I try to get as much writing done if I've been inspired. Lately, it's been more getting work done, signing papers and contracts and stuff. So, but hopefully I'll get back to that. But, you know, the first part of the morning is all about just being grateful and getting started for the day. If I don't go out, and if I have to smile at Helen, I wish I could be like you. If it is a lovely day, if it's not too cold, not too hot, I sound like Goldilocks, it has to be just right. And then I enjoy going for a walk with our dog and taking in the beautiful clouds and the birds. And I love being out in the garden if I can do garden work, because there's just nothing like digging in the dirt and listening to the birds sing. So I'm kind of eclectic about different things I like to do.
That makes you interesting, Diane. Absolutely. So I really feel that when we have structure, purpose, discipline, that it gives us this incredible gratitude and being so thankful that we're able to make a difference each day. It could be a very small difference, as opposed to waiting for somebody else to come and make a difference, or someone else is going to fix it. And I know that we have our new peace show, and I really feel like maybe part of being peaceful is having a purpose. And maybe having a purpose means having time for self-care and self-reflection and gratitude and affirmations. Helen, I see you shaking your head. What do you think?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, it all starts with self, doesn't it? We all have to have peace, however we get that peace, whether it's meditation, being thankful, mindfulness, whatever it may be, we have to have that within us. I think that's the start. It starts from within. And then you've got the ripple effect that from there you can move on to bigger things. And it's so important, because if you're not at peace, you can't move forward, because you will always be stuck. I mean, it sounds quite regimented what I'm saying, but you'll be stuck. You won't be able to give as much and work towards your dream or your passion or whatever it might be. It's so important, to feel grounded and peaceful.
Thank you, Helena. And I have a follow-up question for you, because I know you're an advocate for mental health awareness. And without going into details, we can see in the press, in the news, in the media, stories of people sharing their journey and really bearing all, which may be tied to the fact that they have gone through some things in their life that have affected them emotionally, mentally, and maybe they suppress these feelings. So how important is it to share what you've been going through, and in what venue?
I think it's important to share things, absolutely. But I think also you have to be mindful who you're sharing it to, and also which professional you're working with, if you're working with a professional. I think we're touching on, I would say, Prince Harry here. And it might be time just to mention about him and the current situations in the news. There's been lots of interviews, there's been lots of things going on. What I would say is, I think the world is sort of like, whoa, what's going on? But Prince Harry has decided to write a book and share lots of very private things. I think it's okay to do that when you're talking about yourself, and it's your choice, I suppose, as a person to speak out, but you have to be mindful of other people around you. So there's quite a lot of upset at the moment. But going back to something that I feel probably lots of young people can relate to, and maybe it's from a certain time. I can appreciate Harry's pain and trauma when it comes to his mother passing all those years ago. And one thing I do feel the palace probably did get wrong, I say the palace, it's not the palace, but maybe his family didn't realise the trauma he was going through. He didn't get the correct help. And I feel what's happened is he has PTSD, without a doubt. Although he may feel he's peaceful, he's at peace now. Now he's in Montecito with his wife and children. You can tell, you can see it in his face. You can tell just by his answers, the way he answers, the quick sort of almost, it's something, I can see. He's almost been quite sensational as well about everything, and it's quite shocking for people. I'm absolutely sure that he does need to get some help. Trauma is very, very complex, and actually trauma, talking about PTSD, it's complex trauma. And it's so important, I think, for everyone to know about it. I mean, I think we do have a video. I don't know whether it would be a time to show it, or maybe we don't have the video. It's just a something that gives an idea of why sometimes people act out, and it makes you feel a little bit more compassionate and sympathetic to a situation, rather than how I think the UK are feeling, which is sort of quite angry towards Prince Harry for saying some terrible things about our royal family, but just divulging lots of very personal details about family, which I think, you know, there is a line, and the line we all sort of know, even if you don't have a pact, you don't cross that line because certain things are personal. And unless someone agrees to divulge information, or the person that you're speaking about agrees to it, then that's okay, but not when it's done in such a way. I mean, there is some positives, hopefully, that will spin out of this. And I just hope, my feeling is I've done quite a bit of work actually with GB News recently. I did something yesterday, and it was, has Harry done irreparable damage to our monarchy? I like to think not, but you know, there is the younger generation who is, you know, the royal family and the whole monarchy are modernizing themselves, and they're in the process of it. And all these allegations have come at such a bad time, especially as we have obviously lots of fanfare that's going to be happening in 4 months. We have the coronation, and we're all looking forward to it. It's going to be a great time, and we can't afford to have any dampeners because we want the world to be coming over to see us. We really, really want that. We've got lots to share. So I personally think things will blow over. But, you know, it's amazing how you can do so much damage and maybe not even realize you're doing it because there's something more deep rooted that needs sorting.
Absolutely. I have a question for anybody here who can answer, maybe Diane. Wouldn't his family have to agree to have their private information and those stories shared? Because I know if you're going to cite someone or reference someone in a book, even in acknowledgements, you need their permission, is my understanding.
I'll jump in here. I know when I was writing my historical fiction, I had to speak to all my cousins about their siblings that I'd be referring to, even though I wasn't using their real names, and share with them what pieces of information I was going to be using, and I did that just to be safe because I adore my cousins, and I'm talking about cousins that are second and third cousins as well. And I just think you should do that out of courtesy. I will say that I have heard that legally you are supposed to have permission. I mean, we should double check it, but I think in the US it's legally you can get in a lot of trouble because it's called slander.
Yeah. Anybody else? Ian, looks like you want to say something.
No, I mean, first of all, anybody can write anything about the royal family. There's no repercussion over it because, and I think in reality, what's happening right now, what will worry Buckingham Palace more than anything is what else is going to come out. You know, there's a very famous, it's called the Round Tower at Windsor Castle, which is really where the Queen favoured living most of the time in the last years. And the Round Tower holds all the royal secrets. And newspapers have been trying to get permission to get into the Round Tower for about 15 to 20 years. And so what is happening at the moment is that the Harrys of this world may know much more about the royal family that could come out. And I think, you know, that it's a very dangerous time for the royal family, you know, from a PR point of view. And when I, you know, and so at the moment they are staying silent. I don't think they will respond to anything that Harry says at all. But I think they will be duly worried about what other stories may come out in the future. I don't think we've seen the end of this at all unless there is some means of actually bringing them back together again. And when Helen and I were sort of talking about it the other day, bringing in an intermediary, a professional intermediary, to actually try and bring all sides together again could be a very, very good thing. I think, you see, the thing that I notice at the moment is it's all about Harry, and that I think he has decided take it upon himself to voice all the concerns. And I noticed that he uses the term "my wife and family" constantly, rather than Meghan and the children. And so I get a feeling that Meghan at the moment, she had so much negativity when she was in Britain, which is really one of the reasons why they were forced out, I think, in the final days. And so I hope we can find a way forward. Certainly at the moment, it's the will they, won't they situation for May and the coronation. And I would think right now, the royal family has always been about continuity. They just want continuity of the royal brand, really, more than anything. And I think that unless they dramatically change a lot of the things that are going on right now, they could find themselves obsolete by the time of William becoming king himself as well. There needs to be, in my world, in my estimation, there needs to be a modernization of the royal family, much more than we're seeing right now. And I think that is really sort of something that the royal family just don't know what to do.
So do you feel that this book and the interviews and everything that Harry has shared is a catalyst for a transformation in the royal family?
It could be. It could be, because sorry, Helena, carry on, please.
Sorry, go on. You don't finish.
Okay. I think it could be a catalyst for change. I hope it is a catalyst for change. The reality with a lot of things that I see right now, the big thing that I saw with Meghan, my feeling was that she united people of colour in Britain into thinking that the royal family represents them as well. So many people that when I work with communities and they saw Meghan coming and they smiled, when I watched Meghan, and she naturally, it was uncanny for me. She was naturally doing the same things that Diana did naturally. And I think I could see why Harry had chosen her, as someone who he could see virtually the same characteristics in Meghan that he could see in his mother. And I think that there was a very strong synergy there in the first place. And I hope nowadays that Britain, is a multicultural society, and that the more we stand up for that multicultural society, and especially amongst the royal family as well, who are really our brand leaders, if you like, that the better the country will be in the future.
Thank you, Ian. Helena?
So I don't, for me, of course, we want amends. We want things to work out. I don't agree with how Harry has dealt with this. I don't agree how his circle of people who are looking after him have dealt with this. I think it's very, very poor at completely the wrong time as well. If you actually dissect certain things he says and you actually watch the way he talks, there's a lot of things. It's so incongruent. He says one thing, he says another. He's obviously very, very angry about the media. He blames the media for his mother's death. But he's actually acting out and doing exactly what the media, he says, does to him. He's doing it now. There are so many things which are not good. And actually, when you look at some of this story, which is a human story, some of it, if you take away if you take away the spats, because there is revenge in there, I'm sorry, I can see the way he's talking about Camilla, various things. There are things which are not good, because obviously he's angry, acting out. We've got the PTSD, there's lots of things going on there. And obviously upset about his mother. You know, some of it, I mean, it's really quite underwhelming if you look at what's been mentioned. I think, you know, you've got to remember that our monarchy, the royal family, they work for us. You know, they go out, they ingratiate themselves, they meet people, they're doing lots of meet and greets the whole time. There's our, you know, our security, there's the bigger picture. It's not about the royal family. So they are keeping this silence. They're not going to suddenly keep going back and answering tit for tat, because that would be wrong. It's never worked well. It never does work well. And they are keeping a dignified silence, which I think is correct. I don't feel that tit for tat, and I don't think throwing, I mean, some of the things that have been revealed, for what reason Harry's revealed them is extraordinary. I mean, you just wouldn't do it. But from a point of view, I think the monarchy realised that it has to modernise and was beginning to, in fact. But obviously, then there's this great big hurling of whatever, and it's going to cause a problem. But I feel our world is changing, and things had already been expressed about change. So that's going to move forward. I just hope that not too much damage has been done at this minute. I mean, I have faith, you know, and I know that we've got lots to look forward to. And I actually think that King Charles, it's his time at the moment to shine, and I think things will work well. And I hope people are fickle, aren't they? People sort of side. It's almost like this camp against this camp, and I don't want people to be like that. Hopefully people will just look at things as what they are. Let's see what happens. So, I mean, I just hope, as Ian mentioned as well, we were talking about who could come in as that person to be the mediator, because you always have to have someone to mediate when you can't do it, because obviously there's fractions that cannot be sorted between them. So I was talking about Princess Anne. She would be great. She's very strong. She works so hard. She absolutely is stoic when it comes to the royal family. She doesn't really put a foot wrong. She works hard. And she understands it, because she's the spare, in a sense, to Charles. But she's also his wingwoman, as Harry would have been to William. So she understands completely what it must be like to be a spare. So she'd be brilliant to go in and sort things out. And that's really what we need, because we don't want this nastiness going on. It doesn't do anybody any good. And as we all know, to lead with your heart is the way forward. That's what brings everyone together.
I think I take on board what Helena is saying. I think it's not. I think the big problem is not Harry. The big problem now that I think the royal family will be facing is, even if there's just a grain of truth in what has happened to Meghan, a large proportion of Britain who are now non-white will start to really think, you know, does the royal family represent me or not? And I think, this is something that is more apparent to me all the time. And I think, the real changes have got to be not about, who's going to remain secret and what secrets are going to happen. It's going to be really on, I think for me, for the royal family to represent the whole of Britain, Meghan has to be invited back. She needs to be apologized to. And I think she needs to have a role with Harry, whether it's in America or whether it's around the Commonwealth, where people of colour in Britain can see that the royal family represents everybody, just not the white community.
Is it fair to say that if this was not the royal family, it was just a family, a wealthy family, that they might not ever get back together because the pain would be so deep and both parties don't have, the same interest in mending fences. But because it is the royal family, there's more of a desire and need for them to reconcile.
I mean, I think historically, obviously, as I said, the royal family expects continuity. That's their buzzword. That's the word that they've been on forever. And there have been times, obviously, 1936, 1938, with the abdication, where there was a huge amount of transition going on, and how that could sort of work in the future. And I think, that the reality at the moment is, I want to see a strong royal family, but I also want to see united Britain as well, and a Britain that feels that the royal family represents them, rather than just represents part of the community. And I think, the reality at the moment is that for whatever is necessary for the royal family to do, I think they need to bring Harry and Meghan back into the fold. I think it needs to be seen in a way where at least they can listen to Meghan's concerns, because it became a racial issue. Let's not sort of, there was a big elephant in the room all the time, with all of this. And I think, the reality now is that, for me, I want to see a united royal family. I want to see a united Britain, because, it's the communities in Britain that make Britain one of the greatest countries in the world. It's similar to America, where all the communities, all the skin colors of America make America great. And that unity of purpose is sort of something that I think is very, very important for people today. And I hope that they can find ways of actually, and in reality, something like something special happening during the coronation could be the perfect start of changing what is perceived by a lot of people as something to do with color rather than with person.
Interesting.
So my feeling is, I agree everything about cultures and people and cohesion and getting on. So part of what Ian says, absolutely. I think Ian always makes this into a race thing, the royal family, this Meghan, and it becomes this, we've got to integrate Black people into the royal family. Whatever you are, wherever you're from, you're a family, whether you're white, it doesn't matter. I mean, that's how I feel. It really doesn't matter. I don't think it's all about this. At the end of the day, it's people not getting on. I think sometimes we can focus too much on where you're from or, what religion you are. I mean, you've got to remember King Charles is, he works to embrace all faiths, all cultures. It's one of his big things. He's been like that since a young boy. I don't think it's the case. What you've got to remember is, although ideally it would be good to have Harry and Meghan, yes, working in the Commonwealth and ingratiating and all working together, but you've got to also see that what they've done and all the information they've put out has been quite an attack. Do they want to be part of the royal family? There has to be a degree of trust. So it's all very well wanting them to be part of the royal family, but do they want it? I see a couple who are hopefully they're going to be happy soon, and they'll move on to other things. That's what I see. I think from a race point of view, one of my bugbears, should I say, about that's happened is, for a few years here, there was a lot of, you're racist, you're this, you're that. The royal family was supposed to be racist after the Oprah and Harry and Meghan chat a few years ago. I've lost sort of track of timing. Apologies if it's not a couple of years ago. So we had this almost like this awful dark time here in the UK, and it creates a horrible feeling, as Harry will know. It's done, and he did an interview with one of our top presenters here, And when it was mentioned about the race thing, he said, "Oh no, we didn't mean that the family were racist. The royal family aren't racist." He talks about silence is toxic. Well, when he realised that the conversation they had with Oprah, which basically brought up this whole situation, insinuating the royal family were racist, that was the time to come in and say, "We didn't mean that," and then it takes it away. But that didn't happen, so they allowed that to continue. So there's lots of things which are just not good and not what you would do. And when you actually take all these tiny little bits and pieces, there's so much to be discussed, because to work as a unit and to get on takes a lot of work. And let's be honest, not everybody loves it. When you're a family, you don't love everybody. You don't love definitely your step brothers, sisters as much, maybe. People aggravate you. It doesn't always have to be to do with other things. It could be genuinely that you just don't get on for whatever reason. But you learn to work as a unit. So, gosh, sorry, we weren't going to be talking.
Yes. And it's interesting because that's the way we're going to end our show, apparently, because we have another show coming up right after this. So, Ian, I'm going to go over to you, and then Diane, we'll see if Helena comes back. What would you like to have our audience take away from our show today?
I think that Britain is a caring society. First of all, it's a multicultural society, and we value every citizen in Britain. That is my aim, and always has been my aim, is to talk about issues that sometimes may be slightly more volatile in nature, but I think it needs to be said. But I don't talk on behalf of ethnic minorities, but they're not nowadays. They're majorities through as well. But I just feel personally that from very, very early days, when I was raised, as a very young child, anybody who came through our door, we were just a working class family. My parents helped. Didn't matter their skin color, their religion, whatever, and they didn't want anything in return. And so that's the values that I've carried on throughout my entire life as well. And I think, with the royal family, I want to see the royal family united. I want to see the country united. And we're going to go through some pretty hard times, I think, over the next year or two. And so anything that gives us hope and value is really what I think Britain needs right now. And so a symbolic gesture, whatever it may be, to actually allow Meghan to be seen as someone who could create great importance for Britain as well, and for the people of colour within Britain, I think would be a tremendous thing for the royal family to do, and for Britain to do as well.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Helena is back with us. Helena, what would you like our audience to take away from our show today?
I would like, goodness me. Oh, okay. Just to add something fun that I felt was fun. In amongst everything that's going on, sometimes, especially if you've got a business, you can find a little glimmer of hope and something that you can work towards. And there's a bookshop called Bert's Books, and it's just something that's done the rounds here in the UK, which I found quite comical. And they're an online bookstore, but they're actually more than an online bookstore. They now have one little shop front in Swindon, which is a lovely place in the UK. And they managed to jump on at the back of the new book, Spare, and they had this wonderful a front of his books, basically, with another book in the middle. I can't remember the name of the book now, but basically the whole thing was they made this amazing book front of the and it everyone looked at it and thought, how ingenious. It was a real PRQ. And now they're really on the map, and it's Bert's Books, and they've just, yeah, it's amazing. And basically they took a picture of their shop window and it was a winner. And so everywhere, every single broadcast platform has been running with it. And it just goes to show that sometimes when you think your chips are down, actually, if you flip it, it's amazing what you can discover. Lots of positivity.
Thank you. It's all in your perspective, right?
Yeah.
DIANN, over to you.
Well, I actually had a question, but we're almost out of time. But I will build on what Ian stated. As an American who has visited the UK many, many times and have lived with many people in Dubai that are from Britain and other parts of the UK, I just want to say that what beautiful people, beautiful history, and everyone, there's all this, drama going on, book sale, power, books, money, everything's happening. But just remember that this country is filled with love and hope. And if you start saving your pennies so that you can go and observe and be part of the parade as they celebrate the coronation. And I absolutely love everybody there. And I just want to build on the fact that it's a beautiful, peaceful country. And I love the people. Thank you.
Thank you, DIANN. Thank you so much. That was beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for those who are watching or listening or the live and the replay. We're going to close out. We have a brand new show starting today called I'm Spiritual But, with 2 new team members, Anne Scotland and Dr. Roger Leslie. So stay tuned for that. It's starting in less than 15 minutes. So thank you, everybody. We look forward to seeing you next week. Take care. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.